Hello and welcome to HomeTech. HomeTech is a podcast dedicated to discovering new and emerging technologies for the home. We discuss news about the Internet of Things, home automation, and more. I'm Seth Johnson in Florida, and I'm joined by Jason Griffin in Los Angeles.
Welcome to the HomeTech Podcast. I'm Jason Griffin in Los Angeles, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Seth Johnson in Florida. Seth, how are you?
Doing well, Jason. How's it going?
It's going great. Just plugging away here, and got a great show today. We were privileged to have a gentleman by the name of Ohad Zeira join us on the show, and Ohad is the director of product development at Belkin, specifically for WeMo. And it was a great conversation. Learned a little bit about WeMo, and looking forward to kind of sharing that with our audience. And what did you think of the conversation?
Oh, very good, very good. A lot of interesting things about WeMo that how to do stuff, what use cases they're finding that people are doing, and things that I'm going to think about implementing myself. So it's exactly. a lot of good ideas.
I think that's always kind of the question with a lot of this technology, and we've touched on it numerous times. It's there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do, but it's really important to kind of focus on what's actually useful for a broad, I guess, market of people, because that's really what matters. People don't necessarily need or want all the bells and whistles all the time. They just want to solve like a specific problem using technology. And that's kind of been Belkin and WeMo's approach to home automation. So it was interesting to have him on and to talk about that a little bit. So we'll get into that later. And of course, there was some interesting stories in the news that we're going to touch on. But before we jump into that, wanted to give a couple of quick shout outs and mentions to a couple of our listeners this week. And first is Cody Crossland from Twitter at Cody J. Crossland. And just wanted to thank Cody so much for being one of our most loyal followers, big fan of the show. And we really appreciate you listening, Cody. And, thank you. Just thanks for tuning in and joining us. We really appreciate having you on board.
Yeah, thanks, Cody.
And also got our first iTunes review this week. So we were pretty happy about that. And want to send a shout out to Miguel Tech on iTunes for leaving us the 5-star review. We really appreciate it. And with that in mind, we would really like to encourage listeners, if you like what you hear, pop on over to iTunes, leave us a review. It would be great. Also, you can come by the website at HomeTech.fm, and we've got a feedback form on there. And so you can let us know how we're doing.
Yeah, we get a lot of good feedback through that form there. And it's really just encouraging to hear from you and hear what you like us to talk about, and it gives us really good ideas for upcoming shows. So thanks for listening, and if you have a chance, just write us a review there on iTunes or send us some feedback. Absolutely.
So with that said, why don't we go ahead and jump into the news? The first story that I wanted to talk about is I believe is it pronounced TIO or TO?
I think it's TIO because I think it stands for Turn It On.
Turn It On. So TIO, it's a home automation company, and looks like there's some debate as to the health of this company right now.
Yeah, it looks like they furloughed all of their employees. So not good news for some guys that would be, or guys and girls that would be employed there. But hopefully they can. It says they're looking for some new funding, and they can get back to business and hopefully if that new round of funding comes in for them, they'll be able to open their doors once again. Being a startup is really tough, especially in the home automation world. And I kind of have some unique experience with that in my past. So I can actually absolutely understand where these guys are and what they're going through right now. And I hope and wish them all the best, because it's tough. So these guys came from a company called Colorado VNet. They made a really innovative lighting control solution. At least I thought it was. I went to a couple trainings for them. Went through some sales webinars and that kind of thing. It was like a Cat 5 based lighting control system. So you'd have these centralized panels. You run all your electrical loads back to these panels. This kind of broke that system up, and you could put these little small panels everywhere, like in closets and in your house, and then we're running Cat 5 to them, and then Cat 5 out to the keypads, and it was all based on a neat little network they came up with. and unfortunately they just couldn't gain enough traction in the market. There's some really long term products that have been out there, like Lutron, Homeworks QS, the Homeworks line in general, Light Touch. A lot of these centralized panel systems have been out for years and years and years. So it's really tough to gain traction there.
Yeah, and I know that I personally didn't have any direct experience with Colorado VNet, but I do know that, I spoke with various people who did, and it was kind of one of these products that people who used it and installed it tended to love it. Like, it had almost a cult following in the industry. Like, people were very passionate about Colorado VNet, and it felt, unfortunate when they had to, I guess, shut their doors. I don't know. It was sort of a twisted path or a winding road, I guess, to get to where TIO is now. But Colorado VNet was in trouble. They got bought out by Russound, and that didn't last very long. And then a gentleman by the name of Mike Anderson, who is the current CEO, bought the technology from Russound, and it kind of morphed in a way and became Turn It On. And so, for people who don't know, Turn It On was kind of, I think it was primarily the user interface was Android driven, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, they marketed themselves as kind of an Android solution. So maybe people who might be familiar with the professionally installed side of the market, with iOS, you kind of think of Savant. I think Turn It On maybe was trying to be sort of the answer to that on the Android side, and they're kind of in that market of the professionally installed systems, but they were, I think, trying to budget themselves as sort of an approachable, affordable type of solution.
Yeah, and I guess not all is lost. Hopefully they can kind of emerge from this. And get back on track. So
we should mention that, because actually I don't think we have. Is that Mike Anderson, the CEO, is vehemently denying that the company is in demise, and you can kind of read that whatever way you want. I mean, he's the CEO, of course he's going to say that. But then if you're furloughing all your employees, like, there's got to be a reason for that. So Who knows? But like you said, not all is lost, and I know we here at Home Tech are wishing them the best. I hope they can pull through it.
Yeah, definitely.
So another story I saw come across, looks like D-Link is actually entering the home automation game with a new Wi-Fi smart plug. Did you see that?
I did. It looks really cool. It looks very similar to what Belkin offers with their WeMo line, and it's going to be a little bit less, like $50 or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to go for an MSRP of $50, which is about $10 below the WeMo Insight switch. Basically, a very simple form factor. Personally, I kind of like WeMo's look a little bit better, but it's very similar. It's very affordable, and it's, I don't know. I think the big question right now is sort of what are they hoping to do with this? Like, are they going to put out an API and make this a product that's going to just kind of be open for people to tinker with and integrate? Or are they really looking to kind of come out with maybe a full line of products the way that Belkin has with WeMo?
Yeah, no, it looks like there's a lot of companies that develop products like this, very similar to this that have come out in the last, couple months even. So, competition's good, and I'm all for a race to see who can develop the best features, because nobody wins but you and I.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think, like you said, having more people enter the market is just going to drive innovation and bring prices down even further, which is amazing, because the prices now, even compared to where they were to pull off some of these features even 5 years ago, are incredibly low. So you get a lot of functionality. I mean, $50, like, this could be a no-brainer for somebody who just wants to solve a simple problem. Like, during our interview with Ohad, he was talking about during the holiday season, a lot of people, it sounds like they see a little spike in sales with the smart plugs, because people want a simple way to automate and use timing for their Christmas tree lights. So that right there is just a perfect example. I mean, if you're only talking about $50, it's kind of like, it's a no-brainer. It's a very affordable cost of entry. Sounds like it's going to be pretty simple to set up. So good for them.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the price because yeah, to do the same thing with like a Control 4 system, I mean, well, first you have to have the Control 4 system, but I think their switches are 129, so
Mm-hmm.
you're paying. I mean, that's almost like half the cost, or I guess it's less than half the cost. So,
Right.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the other stories that we wanted to touch on is kind of coming from more of the professionally installed side of the business. There's a company called RTI, Remote Technologies Incorporated. They've been around for a long time. They make a whole array of different home control products. So, their I would say primary offerings are like handheld remotes that you can program to control your media room. If you've got 6 or 7 different components in there, you want it all on one unified control. And that's kind of RTI's, I would say, core offering. But they also make, in-wall keypads and touch panels and controllers and all of that, if you want to have the fully integrated home automation experience. So RTI is a fairly large company, and it looks like they're actually making a move here with a new driver to support Voice Viper, basically voice control for home automation.
Yeah, no, I really think this is interesting because I've never heard of the Voice Viper hardware, but it looks like you can integrate it with AMX, Crestron, and Control 4 as well. So I mean that's a pretty cool product. It looks like it integrates with RS-232 or Ethernet. So that's primarily the two quick two-way controls where you can communicate back and forth to a device. So I mean it looks like a really neat product. I'd be interested to look into this a little bit more and see what it has to offer.
Yeah, voice control is one of those things that, I do think that someday it's coming. I think that, there is going to be a demand for it, but it's really got to get to a point where it's, I guess, just better. I mean, the failure rate on voice recognition is gotten lower, but even a failure rate of like 5 or 10%, if you're walking in your house and you're saying, turn the lights on, and the lights aren't turning on, then you're just going to reach over and you're going to hit the switch and you're going to be done with it. And if that continues to happen, then, you're just going to get frustrated and you're not going to end up using it. And that to me is the big challenge with voice control. And I don't know. We had Ted Rosenberger on episode 4 from VoicePod. People can go back and listen to that. Ted's doing some really cool things with VoicePod. They've got, a couple of different products. I just think voice control has a little ways to go. I do think that someday it's going to be a common feature that people are going to use regularly and sort of expect out of their systems. But I do think that it's got a little ways to go, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be somebody's going to come along and figure something out that is going to be a different use case for voice control, and it's going to be like an edge case that we're not even thinking about right now. I think the best one I heard recently was somebody said you can tell your Xbox to pause, so you can just like Xbox pause, and that seems like okay, I could see that, but trying to control your channels and do everything that the Xbox does. I've walked into the room and said, "Oh, cool! They have an Xbox," and it just like fires up.
Yeah,
like whoops! I didn't mean to turn all this on. I'll have to go figure out how to turn it off safely now.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be some kind of edge case that no one's really flushed out completely now. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. It's just one of those things that I just don't personally see a tremendous need for. Although, now that we're talking about it, is bringing to mind, which I guess is kind of an edge case, is sort of what you're saying. And Ted Rosenberger with VoicePod talked a lot about it, is that it's voice control is a great thing for people with disabilities, maybe who don't have the tactile feeling in their hands or vision problems and things like that. Voice control can be a tremendous help. And so obviously there are uses for it. And again, I do think it's coming. I just... I'm not familiar with Voice Viper. It might be great for all I know, but generally my experience with voice control has been a little spotty, and I just don't see a huge demand for it yet.
No, same here. The primarily the installs that we've done have been with the disabled. And in that use case, it's absolutely imperative that you have some kind of control like that. So
right.
Well, do you want to move on to the interview here?
Yeah, so why don't we give just kind kind of a brief introduction again of the interview. Obviously, when we start off, you'll hear Ohad. He'll give a brief introduction of himself and what he does for the company. But just for anyone who may not be totally familiar with WeMo, again, they make a whole lineup of smart plugs, switches. They now make light bulbs, and they're also partnering up with Jarden Consumer Products. And Jarden is the company responsible for Crock-Pot, Mr. Coffee, a whole bunch of different brands. So they're partnering up with them to kind of integrate that WeMo technology right into the devices themselves. So a lot of cool things going on, as well as, Belkin is big, the Conserve initiative. So they're big on the green angle. And we talked about all that with Ohad.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Crock-Pot, I almost had one.
You were so close.
So close. But I don't run the finance committee here in the house. So
I know the feeling.
So the purchase was made on someone else's Amazon account.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
All right. Well, yeah, we will we'll go ahead and jump into the interview. Once again, thank you for listening to Home Tech, and we hope you enjoy. We would like to welcome to the show Ohad Zeira. Ohad is with Belkin, specifically with WeMo. And Ohad, I'll let you kind of give a brief introduction here. Just tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you do for WeMo.
Yeah, hi. So my name is Ohad Zeira. I head up the WeMo product group here at Belkin. And WeMo is our line of connected home or home automation or Internet of Things devices. Obviously, a lot of terms out there right now for it. But really what we're trying to do is create really approachable point solutions for things that real people want to get done in their home. And we do that with a variety of approaches, starting with a WeMo switch that launched a couple of years ago, and really expanding our lineup since then to really hit a lot of the major areas of needs throughout the home.
Great. So maybe you can touch on, like you said, there's a lot of terminology floating around right now with home automation, connected home, Internet of Things, that sort of terminology. Maybe you can just touch on specifically like what your product lineup currently entails, because I know primarily you guys started out with switches, but now there's smart outlets and also light bulbs. And so maybe you could just give a brief overview of kind of the core offerings of WeMo.
Certainly, yeah. So WeMo started with a smart switch that was really a retrofit solution. You could take almost any non-connected device, and all of a sudden it was connected to the internet. Means you could interact with it using your smartphone. You could control it from anywhere. It was a much easier way to engage with it in terms of setting up smarter schedules. So in essence, starting a conversation with inanimate objects. And the way we've looked at the market was really to learn from our users how it is that they were engaging. And so the very next product that we introduced was the light switch, and that came directly from the feedback of our users who were so enamored with using the switch for lighting purposes, they actually asked us for it. Since then, we've introduced the Insight switch that allows energy measurement capabilities. And the neat thing about it is that it's not just energy management. It really also gives the user the insight into usage. So, for example, I can set a rule that says turn off the Xbox if it's been on for more than 3 hours. That's how I can enforce homework time, if you will.
Very nice.
I was going to say that's a really cool product.
Thank you. We've had some wonderful use cases that have popped out around the Insight, around our other products, and it's been one of the most fun things about this job is really seeing the creativity that our users have unleashed on the category. There's a couple of things that are just blew our mind. There's one I want to share with you on the Insight, which was. One of our users was using it in Bitcoin mining. So I don't know if you're familiar with how Bitcoin mining occurs. I guess it's cryptography rigs. And basically they use these big rigs of video graphics cards. to search for the currency. And those things sometimes get scrambled or overheated and shut themselves down. So we actually have a user connecting it to an Insight. With that, he was able to monitor the power drop when one of these cards went offline, actually alerted him to it, and then automated a script to restart that card and get back up and running. So just some of these use cases we never would have anticipated, but are really pretty neat.
Wow, yeah, that's way out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed. I mean, what market are you specifically trying to target? I mean, you mentioned. I mean, I know I've seen your product in Costco. I believe I saw them in there. I see them in a lot of places like Best Buy. I believe like some of the big box stores. Like what specifically do you think your market is? Are you looking to like the everyday Joe Smo or the kind of the tech guys that would be doing Bitcoin mining and that kind of thing?
Well, it's really neither of those, and I think the best way to talk about it is we are looking for people that are out there looking for solutions to different problems or different gaps that they see in their lives, and I think that's what really identifies and coalesces our consumer base. Sometimes they're techie, and certainly problem solving is a trait that we see amongst technology early adopters, but they don't have to be. At the end of the day, they're curious and willing to go out and figure out new ways to solve old problems.
Right. And our audience on this show kind of runs the gamut. We have, I'm not sure if you even know, but Seth and I both come from the background of professionally installed systems. So the professional home automation, but we focus a lot on the do-it-yourself stuff as well. And so we have a nice mix of listeners and people who come from different backgrounds. And really, I think that the one thing that all of your target customers are going to have in common is that they're going to be shopping for a product that's going to help them solve a specific problem. And I know that WeMo seems to be of a bite-sized home automation and really, going after those individual cases to kind of get people into home automation for the first time. So could you maybe, with that in mind, touch on like what some of the more common everyday uses are, or maybe, presumably you have some WeMo products at home and kind of how you use the product, just for people that may not be familiar with sort of how this product might benefit them.
Oh, certainly. And I wouldn't say that my usage is by any comments, but I'm happy to share those as well.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. Our goal with this system was to be really approachable and to recognize that everybody comes into the space from a different direction. I think most of us haven't ever woken up in the morning and said, "My God, I feel really disconnected from my house. I'm going to go have a connected house."
Right.
But they say something like, "Yeah, it's really dark when I go downstairs in the middle of the night. I'd love for a way to take care of that." Or, I worry about Jimmy coming home at the right time when I'm still at work, and I want to make sure that he got into the house okay, and I have a way to take care of that. Those are the kind of outcomes that we see. Certainly, lighting has been a really popular use case, and that's because with lighting we see both a real functional as well as an emotional connection. It really is something to setting the mood in our homes. And then we get the whimsical as well. I would say that every year we get a tremendous amount of people that get introduced to WeMo as a Christmas tree lighting, either timer or controller. And we get to see all the cool videos that they send us about surprising their kids with a motion sensor that lights up the tree when the kids get close.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, very cool.
And as far as kind of what some of my uses are, there's a couple that I think are a bit unique. We have two cats, and so they actually turn on their own call it heating element using an old incandescent 100-watt bulb above their cat bed with a motion sensor. So when they jump up on the cat bed, the light turns on, and they like that a lot. That's kind of a fun one.
I think you just won over all of the animal lovers in our audience with that one.
Yeah, a big collective and another one, particularly for me, I somehow got responsible for most of the laundry in the house, and laundry machine's downstairs. And I have a terrible habit. It's not very green, and I try to break it, which is I forget that I ran a load in the washer. And I leave it there, and then when I finally come back, I have to run that wash again before I can really dry those clothes. So now I have my washing machine connected to a WeMo Insight switch, and I set up a rule that sends me a notification when power has dropped, and so that means the cycle is done, and I remember to go and put everything in the dryer.
Well, that's a great idea. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that myself. That's really cool. I know that you guys have done some partnerships. One of the more interesting things we saw come out of CES, actually, at least it interests us here on the show. And then after we did some more research, I found out I really would have liked to have gotten one. Here is one of the crockpots, the WeMo crockpots. You guys had a partnership with Jarden Consumer Solutions and came out with that. Is that a long-term solution? Are you guys going to be coming out with maybe a WeMo coffee pot or something like that maybe in the future?
That is exactly right. Yeah, we are in a close partnership with our friends at Jarden Consumer Solutions, and really recognized a couple of things. One is there are a lot of use cases that are just going to be better enabled through an integrated solution. And so through full control of a device, and a lot of devices that really have a right to join the Internet of Things. And the slow cooker is really just the first in line there. And I love the slow cooker example because there's a real human moment there of demonstrating where this kind of remote internet connectivity is really applicable. We have the opportunity there with Jarden to save dinner. You're at soccer practice. You have to, do, it's running long. There's a few more errands, and you can go ahead and turn that temperature to warm and really save that piece of the family life. It's a real human moment there. And yeah, we'll be following it up with other fantastic Jarden brands, including a Mr. Coffee maker, as well as a air purifier and a heater under the Homes brand.
Oh wow, very cool, very cool. Yeah, my wife actually got a chance to see that the slow cooker in the Chicago Houseware Show this year, and was sending me text messages and pictures about it while she was there. So you guys put a really good show on there, I guess. Because
that was Jarden. I happened to be there, and the energy in that show and around those products was really exciting to be a part of. I'm used to CES and Mobile World Congress. That was my first houseware show, and it was a fantastic experience because of that.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit because really, it's great to have a smart plug, something that you can kind of automate or turn on and off from your phone, but that doesn't always get you there because you could plug your coffee pot into a smart outlet and you can, hit it from your phone and turn it on, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to know to just, start making coffee. So I think the idea that you can kind of embed this power inside of the products themselves, I think is a great fit for you guys. And it makes sense, for Jarden and for you guys to kind of pursue that partnership. So yeah, I think, Seth and I are both excited to kind of see how that relationship develops.
Yeah, it's been a great collaboration because we bring in consumer insights and user experience expertise in very different fields. And how that combines, I think will get pretty magical. I can give you kind of a simple example around the crockpot slow cooker, which is, today we take what has been a pretty consistent traditional slow cooker interface and transpose it or translate it to touchscreen on a smartphone. And that obviously opens up a lot of capabilities. But, at some point, we're still engaging, saying, I'm going to put on a cooking schedule that is going to take this many hours at this different temperature sequence. But that's really because we're translating the existing UI. You could see as these devices and experiences evolve, I don't really need to do that. I should just say, I'm making turkey chili. I want it ready at 7 p.m. And depending on when it is during the day, let the machine itself figure out what's the best temperature and cooking cycle to give me absolutely the best meal at the time that I want to eat it.
Very cool. Very cool. I know you've got a hard stop coming up here in a couple minutes. Just wanted to get a couple more questions in about how do you think the WeMo product line fits in with Belkin's broader conserve initiative? I know you mentioned saving that extra load of laundry. That's a great one, and of course saving dinner and maybe using less watts or something on a low setting. But what else is WeMo bringing to the table to fit in with the green initiative?
No, that's a great question, and WeMo, I guess more internally, was a pretty direct offshoot off of our learnings with the Conserve platform. And really, what we're trying to build is a platform that allows users to measure, monitor, and manage their devices in the home. And those are really the foundations of an effective behavioral feedback loop that enables you to understand what you're doing and make better choices. Now, in the beginning, that's very much a self-motivated loop, right? And it's more call it subtle or implicit benefits from saying, oh, well, right now my lights will turn on only a half an hour after sunset, and will turn off at 11 p.m. That means I've removed that room for error of leaving them on during the entire day, or only turning them off the next morning when I wake up. Those kinds of behaviors. But going forward, what we really look to is provide a lot more deeper and richer data about how it is that we engage within our homes. And we're doing that through a technology that we're calling through Echo technology that will be integrated into the WeMo system, which will provide homeowners really the ability to see very detailed water and power usage within their home from kind of a simple single sensor that sees across the entire home.
That sounds very cool. That's exactly what people are looking for.
Great. Yeah, I've read a little bit about that, the Echo initiative, and it sounds really interesting. So we're excited to see kind of what comes of that. I know we're running out of time a little bit here, but I did want to touch on one last thing that's slightly more on the technical side, but I think it's important because it's kind of a question about where home automation and the do-it-yourself scene is headed in general. And it has to do with, you guys recently announced the WeMo Maker. There was some talk about this at CES, and I think we don't need to get too technical, but I think the gist of it is basically that it's kind of opening up a bit of an API to let people do some more advanced things, and it's a little piece of hardware with basically a contact closure on it. But in general, is WeMo going to kind of embrace like an open API kind of model to let other people come tie in? Are you kind of, I know you're using if this then that quite a bit, but is there open up even more in the future?
Yeah, we're it's a great question. We're constantly having these conversations internally, and we're absolutely heading down an open path, but we're looking to do it in a specific way, which is to say, today there are dozens and dozens of different islands of interoperability and functionality out there. And really supporting all of those in a meaningful way is a tough balancing act between that and focusing on delivering really clear, really crisp, really engaging user experiences. So we so far have been looking to both spend our time trying to deliver that best experience that we can for our users, creating meaningful tie-ins with select partners such as IFT and such as Jarden, where we can really assure a high level of quality, and then engaging in conversations with those groups that we believe are kind of the most likely to create a kind of a broader interoperability. And when we see that critical mass arising, we'll certainly be part of that. In addition, we also have software development kits out there to support additional kind of experimentation and integration with the WeMo platform.
Excellent. As integrators, we always like to hear about that. So, but Ohad, I know you're kind of running up on a hard stop here for you. I just really want to tell you thank you, and we appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on Home Tech and talking to Jason and I today.
Absolutely, my pleasure, and look forward to doing it again soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ohad. Have a good night.
Take care. Bye.